guys, so today we are doing the Alien Head zip bag, which leaves a lot of room for a lot of fun. You can use glow-in-the-dark vinyl, which is what I will be using. And I turn off lights, except that I can't because there's too many of them. You can use some of the metallic. You can use hollow, which I've misplaced, but whatever. There's a lot of potential for fun on this one. We're doing the 5x7. The only hiccup and the giddy up on this one is that it is 2 hoops. Because if I had put the zipper on the front for a single hooping, our alien would have had a craniotomy, and I thought that was just weird. So, I mean, weirder than it should be. This is gonna be weird anyway, but it's weird in a fun way. So what will you need? You'll need your pattern. When you download the pattern, one will be marked zip bag or ZB, alien head front, and ZB, alien head back. You want to do the back first, all right? Always do the back first. You're going to need 2 pieces of medium weight cutaway, one for the back, one for the front. You will need, I'm going to use, woohoo, some of this Wet Look patent because his eyes on the front are applique insets. So that's going to give his eyes that mirrory, weird, I'm coming to suck your soul, or give you an anal probe look to him. I'm going to use glow in the dark for the front. And because glow in the dark is expensive, I'm going to use plain black for the back. You will need 1 zipper that is approximately 1.5 to 2 inches longer than the width of the bag. Since we're doing a 5x7, you will need a 7-inch zipper. You'll need 2 pieces of gross grain ribbon, about 3 inches each. You will need, I'm going to make this a crossbody bag, so I am using 2 lobster claws. If you want it just to be a change purse or a dangle, you can use a ding ring or a lobster claw. And of course, ollie, because the back of the head will have a lining-ish to keep that raw embroidery from getting all nasty on the inside of the bag. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a look at your pattern. Remember, in the hoop stuff, digitizers and designers use all kinds of weird colors to force your machine to stop. On this, since we're doing the back first, and I'm using a black zipper and a black backing, all this right here is actually black thread, okay? These are just forcing your stops, okay? So we're gonna throw it in the machine. Color stop 1 is a die line. That gives you the whole head. Color stop 2 is the die line for the zipper. I probably should combine those. So, guys, when you download this pattern, steps 1 and 2 are gonna be combined. Sorry about that. Step 3, tacks down your zipper, okay? Step 4, which when I redo this will be step 3, tacks down your vinyl. Step 5 is your ollie or your liner of any kind. And step 6 and 7 are gonna be your zipper tricks. Or maybe, yes, I think. All right, let's do this and see how it turns out. Back in a minute. Okie dokie, so guys, I went ahead and sewed color stop 1 and 2. So that's the alien head die line for our vinyl here shortly, as well as our zipper placement. So I am going to, this is 1 inch apart. Most zipper ribbons are 1 inch wide. Yes, I'm using one of the pretty frilly lacy ones, but it's gonna go on the inside of the bag and nobody's gonna know that our alien prefers Laura Ashley. So this is what happens when you don't order supplies. You want to make sure that your metal bits are totally outside your stitch path, because metal and needle are a bad combination. You get it taped down, and I'm gonna do a little prophylactic taping too, just because that zipper is way out of the way, but it worries me. We're gonna throw it in, and it's gonna tack your zipper down, and we'll be back for your vinyl placement in just a moment. So we got our zipper tacked down, yay. Now we need to put our vinyl down, yay. So I'm gonna tear up this little tape, and I am going to grab a tape measure, And on the top of yon alien head, we need a piece of black vinyl that's about 2 inches. And on the bottom, we need a piece of black vinyl that's about 5.5 inches. All right, well, lucky me, I've got a piece that's 6 by 8. So I'm gonna cut 2 inches off this. Blurg, come here. There we go. And there we go. All right, so this is a cut using a ruler and a roto cutter, which means that these 2 lines are beautifully, perfectly, fantastically straight. So they are the 2 lines that I want to use to buck right up against yon zipper, okay? So I'm gonna put that one there, and I'm gonna put that one there, and I am going to put a little piece of tape here, and I'm gonna put a little piece of tape right over here. And just because you never know when we're gonna have an earthquake in the middle of Texas, I'm gonna put a piece of tape here so that when the earthquake happens, my vinyl doesn't go flying off my machine and cause some sort of wild embroidery injury. And I don't like that that piece of vinyl was stored wrong, so it's starting to pull up, but whatever. Okay, we're gonna throw it in the machine and we are going to run color stop 4, and that's going to tack down our vinyl, and then we'll be back to tuck our zipper in. And this piece of the dealio is almost done. Yeah. Okay, kids, we have tacked down our vinyl, and I've lost my scissors. There we go. And because I was not particularly bright, I managed to tack down the tape too. Yay. So we get to use my non-existent fingernails to try to get this tape up. And what's hilarious is after we could do our little zipper trick here, I'm gonna put tape right back down. This is the definition of adulting is soup, and I have got nothing but forks around here. Okay, so there we go. So we are about to do the little zipper trick, and we're doing it on the back because there's no zipper on the front. Huh. So we are going to take that up, and we are going to open our zipper to approximately 2 fingers. And then we're going to tape it right back down because you know how I hate loose, floppy metal in my machine. And then this is just going to give you a cut line, little EB cut line. You want to make sure that your vinyl is nice and flat so your zipper head doesn't catch on it. We're going to put it back in the machine. It's going to go a single stitch here, come down here, a single stitch here, and that's going to let us know where to cut our ribbons to. Back in a second. Okay, so we have done our little tack lines for our zipper trick. Now, we are going to carefully peel up this tape because we're still going to use it. We're not going to get rid of it. We're going to use it. Brr. Now, again, we are changing the way we do our zipper trick. We are still cutting our ribbon all the way up to that line. But when we cut off our teeth, we are not getting as close to that line as possible. We want to come back out about, and I don't know if you can see this, about 1/4 inch from the end of the bag, so that when we put the top and the bottom together and turn it inside out, these little jaggies don't poke, okay? But we do want to crisscross our ribbons. So we are going to cut the ribbons all the way to that line so that when we push them through and flip it over, so I'm going to put my tape back down, and we crisscross them. It adds a nice finished look on the inside of the bag, but also, it acts as an additional zipper stop so that your zipper head does not go flying off the edge of your bag, because sometimes people get excited when they're opening their bag to give you money. All right, now we're going to flip over, and this is a good place to remember. We're going to need a tiny little tear in here for turning in several more steps, so I'm going to put that there. Going to flip it over this way, going to pull back my tape. Remember, I'm going to cut my ribbons all the way to the line, all the way up to the line. Careful not to slice or cut the vinyl or the stitching, but I'm going to come back about 1/4 inch from the edge of the bag so that when we do the roll, those are caught in the seam, the tacked together seam, and they don't pokey outy or work their way out. I'm gonna stick the ribbons through that little slash, put that back down, flip it over, grab a piece of tape, cross my tails, blurg, blurg, blurg. There we go. Make sure that that tape's nice and stuck down. Throw it back in the machine. It's gonna go bean stitch, bean stitch, bean stitch, and then we will be done with the back and we'll start the front. Okay, so here we are. We have, blardy, blardy, blur. We have finished up the back of our alien head zip bag. Literally, there is nothing more to do with this one for right now, except pull up your tapes, flip it over and trim your ribbons and jumps. Okay, pull up your tapes, leave this tape in place, but pull up these two tapes right here. Okay, unhoop and set the back aside because we will need it later. Now, on your machine, load up the second pattern that's included in the zip file. That's called ZB Alien Head Front. This one. Hoop up your stabilizer and throw it in the machine and run color stop 1 to give you the die line to float your vinyl. Back in a second. As we have got our die line for the front of our alien bag, so we are going to take some glow-in-the-dark vinyl and we are gonna float this in such a way that we cover the whole die line, and we're gonna throw it in the machine and we are going to run color stop 2, which is gonna give us a die line for his eye. Back in a second. Pokey pokies, we have our die line for our first eyeball. And I am going to put a piece of this shiny black patent on here and just tape it lightly just to hold it in place. And it's gonna run a zigzag and then I'm gonna applique cut that. And we'll be back for that in just a second. Okay, so we have this one little piece of shiny black vinyl tacked down. Where did I put my other piece of shiny black vinyl? There it is. So we're gonna applique cut this one. Okay, and so we're gonna use our applique scissors. Remember, the paddle lays over the stitches to kind of protect them so that you don't clip your stitches, but you can get really tight in there. Okay, and if you are not an expert applique cutter, don't worry about it. Practice, practice, practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? The good news for you is that I did the zigzag at 2.5 millimeters, but I did the satin at 4 millimeters. So if you've got a little bit of jaggy, your oopsies should be taken care of. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna put it back in the machine. It's going to run the die line for the right eye, and we'll come back to float the right eye. Back in a second. I told you that was gonna be super quick. So there's our die line, and we're gonna float this little piece of vinyl right here. I'm just gonna hold it lightly in place with a little bit of tape. Gonna throw it back in, do the same thing we did with this one. We're gonna run the zigzag, then we'll come back and trim it out. And then from there, it's the rest of the fills and interior design. Hey, and there we are. I told you that would be zippy quick, didn't I? So I am going to do exactly like I did on the other eye. And I'm gonna pull up my little tapes. And I am going to applique trim as close as possible to my little eyeballs without actually cutting my stitches. Careful, careful, careful. It's easier to get a nice close cut. If you turn the work and not the scissors, where you can, when you can. All right, there we go. Yay. All right, so now we're gonna throw him back in the machine and we are going to run color stop 6. We will be back at color stop 7. Look at there's our alien face, yay. So we're gonna trim off our jumps and you'll notice that it's put 2 die lines, 2 tack lines for us to tack down because this bag's a little bit different. We need to do our ribbon and lobster claw attachments. Usually this is done on the back, or not on the back, just before the zipper, and then at the end we clip these little tabs and blah blah blah. Because this bag is different, everything's special. We're gonna point them inwards, as so. All right, point them inwards like that. All right, you're still gonna leave about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ribbon pointing outwards like that. And you're gonna center them on those die lines. And we're gonna put it back in the machine and it's going to tack those ribbons down, and then we'll come back and attach the back to the front and some ollie to the back. What? Eh? It's all good. Peace. Okay, here we are. We've got our little ribbon assemblies tacked down. We are on the final step. Yay! So we need to do 2 things at this point. We need to flip it over, and remember, I don't like all of this showing. So we are going to put a piece of ollie fun on the back. You can use fabric. Just remember that the edges are going to be raw, so you need to use some fray stop or something of that nature on it. And let's see. I need a piece of about 6 by 8 ollie for the back of this bag because it's a 5 by 7 bag. So is this 8 inches? It's 9 inches. So we're going to trim it that way and then trim it this way, and then I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, and we're not gonna have to trim that out or anything because remember, it's gonna cover the entire back of the front of the bag. I am, however, gonna put some tape down because gravity, when I flip this over, we want it to stay there. Now, we have already sewed out this Mama Jamma, and I am going to take some scissors and neatly trim off all this excess stabilizer, which we really do not need. If only I had more hands. And then I am also, no, I'm gonna wait until after I've sewed the bag together to trim that little piece off and open up our turn hole. All right, now how do I float this? How do I get it all aligned? Well, it's really simple. If you've cut both of these pieces to 6 by 8, then you line them both up like that, front and back. Put the zipper and the pretty side down on top of the pretty side of your alien. And then we're gonna just put a little tiny bit of tape to hold everything in place as it sews the back and the front together, so that we don't have any shifting and we don't have any catching as it goes across the zipper assembly. And it shouldn't catch on your zipper because your zipper is 2 inches or 2 finger widths to the inside, if you did it right. And now we're going to put it in the machine and it's going to tack those 3 things together. Back in a second. There we go. We are tacked together. Yay! So, and you'll notice that I was not real good about making sure my tape was clear, but whatever. All right, we are going to take up our tapes. Yay. And we are going to trim any of our stragglies, as well as trimming the rest of this. Remember, we want to trim the stabilizer, not the zipper or the stitches or the fabric or anything. Just get this stuff out of here. So go slow and careful. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's done. That's done. It's time to unhoop. Woohoo. And put the hoop somewhere where it's not in our way. Yeah! Chaos. I tell you. Absolute and utter chaos. Okay. And now we are going to trim our bag. And because it's a roundy and not a square, we can't use our handy dandy ruler and roto cutter. Gosh darn it. That makes me sad. And here we go. I'm gonna come in. We wanna keep about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. And we're gonna trim all the way around. Yes, we are. And you know, I'm thinking about it. This, since he's all round head, might not be a bad opportunity for us to use our pinking shears, but I didn't think about it before I started this. So there we are. There we go. We're gonna stick our fingers in and we're gonna try and get as much of this tape that's holding stuff down out of our way to make turning way easier. Okay, and then I'm gonna come down here and put a finger in his pointy little chin and turn from his chin up. Huh. There we go. And we're gonna come up here and we're gonna turn his forehead. Botox, baby, Botox. All right, there we go. And now remember, we need to roll our seams to train both the front and the back vinyl for a new, ooh, that one did not get pokeyed out. There we go. For a new orientation. It's never been in this orientation before, so it's going to give you some problems. Again, once you get it all turned, a good idea is to get it how you want it and then stack some heavy stuff on it. Other people have suggested using their iron or press. Y'all is brave. Okay, woo. Okay, there we go. There we go. There you go. There you go. And now for the fun part. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Yeah? All right. Is that not cool? Peace.